Hey, what's going on, guys? So, you know what? All work and no play makes Justin a dull boy. And like a few of you have pointed out, we haven't done a good old-fashioned critter hunter video in a while. So, just me and Elvis and maybe a couple other friends, we're gonna go right out here out front and do a night dive. Because you know, if you've been watching the channel for a long time, you see all the coolest critters at night. So let's do that. So before we get in the water, we still got a couple minutes before it gets dark enough. What I want to do is, you know what, my personal regulators, I have a couple. So I got an Aqualung Titan and my trusty Aqualung Micron. And this thing has been with me since I did Dive Master like 10 or whatever years ago. And I love it, but Titan is top of the line Aqualung. So what I want to do is combine. I'm going to use the first stage of the Titan and one of my Micron second stages, and just kind of combine these. And then I'm also going to finally put on my primary donate long hose, and I'll get to that in a minute. But basically, well, let me just get to that, why I want to use this instead of the short hose in a minute.
How come you have it on the tank already?
Yeah, when you're taking off lines, it's actually easier to have this on the tank. Then you don't strip some of these screws or whatever. In case I want to use it again, which I might put that together as a rental. But anyway, this just takes a crescent wrench if I put it on the tank, and yeah, it's easier to take off. Okay. And by the way, I don't really like these. These they look like little protection sleeves. Cause look, I take it down, and there's a lot of little corrosion and stuff gets on my stainless. Because especially on rentals that you're using every day, and your students and whoever or your dive masters are cleaning these after every dive, they're not gonna remove this and clean under there, get all the salt, and then put it back. So I actually take these off or cut them off or don't use them at all. Just heard this little weird voice in the other room saying, "Why is it pink?" Yeah, I know it's you, you little mouse. I really fell in love with this design. Really short, and the little top piece for the top of your mouth. I really like this design, and the color, of course. Just gotta make sure that top piece is up. And I hope we have zip ties. Here's what every good dive shop has. Whole bunch of zip ties, every kind, and a whole bunch of bungee cord. Let me show you what I'm gonna do with this, because Elvis is wondering as well. So they actually make collars or necklaces, but when you're a big old boy like me, you gotta make your own out of bungee cord. And I don't know how they tie them. You know, the necklaces come with a circle, so I'm just gonna zip tie it on there. Because why not? I don't know. Yeah, it's a little big. Right there. Right there. Yeah, I think that's good. I gotta burn these little ends of the thing, and then we're good to go. Nothing touching. So let me show you how this primary donate works real fast, and then we'll get in the water. So, I did a video on this before, I think, but this is now gonna be my main hose if somebody's on my spare. And this, what used to be my spare that I never use, it's gonna be my main one. So it goes like this, untangle it, still new, wrap it around my head, and I'll use it. Okay, so now if one of my students or another buddy, they're panicking, the first thing, they're not gonna search for your octopus, where it's at so they can grab it. They're just grabbing it from your face. So they grab it, I just go like this, they can have it. This one is right here, I'll just put it in, okay? So now they can have this, and it's really long. Remember the other day we needed to share air with somebody? They were just on my back because it's a short hose. But this one is 6 foot. Now they can stay up out of my way. We can kick back to the shore wherever we're going. Okay? So, there we go. Now, let's completely gear up and I'll show you what we're working with because I want to add some clips and snaps as well. Go under my arm, left arm, clip right here. Okay. Here's my low pressure hose. That's a little long. I'd really like to get a short one. Let's see if I have a short one of these. Yeah. How about your BCD now? You show everybody your new BCD? Let's do that. There's Elvis's, also an X-Deep Ghost, like mine. Wow. So I'm putting everything together. I got my camera. I still gotta lube the O-ring, but I found this little light for GoPros, and I found this little piece. So I put the light on the tripod, and I'll put the GoPro right here, so that you can film stuff while I'm filming stuff. All right, my friend Brian's here. We're gonna go do this dive. And you guys know the routine. We're just gonna go see what we can see and show you guys whatever we can film. We try to find some shrimp for sure, some nudies. I don't know, every night is different. Let's just go have a relaxing dive and show you a little fraction of what we see at night. Right here at the very beginning of the dive, before I could even set up the tripod or lights or anything, we found this little tiny octopus walking around in the sand at about 2 meters deep. I'm not really sure what species of octopus this is. There's always debates whether this would be a white V octopus or maybe a long arm octopus. But either way, I see them quite often here right in front of my office on our house reef. This is a quite big cone snail at about 5 inches long. And these guys are just crawling everywhere on this dive site. And they're always fascinating to film. If you look closely in all the nooks and crannies, you'll see little fish hiding everywhere, including this little dwarf lionfish. He was a little bit shy though. And nearly all of the hard corals around here, you're going to find these little crabs, and I believe they're called protector crabs. They live their entire life inside the coral. Hiding among the branches, just spending their day protecting their home from intruders. And, well, just like this guy, having a bite to eat. The funny thing is, My video lights here at night attract a lot of plankton. And as you can see, this guy is getting a free meal from all the plankton that's coming towards my light. He's definitely not complaining. If you know the name of this little crab, well, he has some epic camouflage. Now this isn't the same coral, this is actually a staghorn coral, and this isn't the same crab either. But whatever the name of this species is, he was also taking advantage of all the plankton and stuff that was attracted by my lights, just catching it out of mid-air, well, mid-water, and having himself a snack. It's kind of like I brought the buffet to him. When you realize that this guy is about the size of a dime or even smaller, you suddenly start to understand that there's an entire world out there that most of us have yet to discover. This is an awesome coloration for a flatworm. And they spend their time kind of just slithering around like a ribbon, looking for something to eat. It's kind of a misconception that these guys are blind, because they're not. They have this eye spot right here, and this guy was actually kind of shying away from my light. Unlike all the other critters that were happy to have a meal from the light, this guy was getting annoyed by the little shrimp and plankton and copepods that kept smacking him on the back. And then he just swam away. Speaking of my lights and the little copepods, check this guy out. This is a little tiny anemone, I believe, and he was just catching the plankton right out of the water that was all swarming my light. It's so weird seeing a plant eat. Maybe this is like a Venus flytrap above water. But either way, his long arms would grab a little critter and put it down into its mouth for a meal. These feathered sea stars are everywhere. And as cool as they are, I think you should look a lot closer and you might discover something living among the feathers. Do you see it yet? It's a tiny crab, and these crabs are just as colorful and varied in their patterns and colors as the feathered sea stars themselves. Feathered sea stars come in all sorts of colors, from reds, blues, greens, blacks, and whatever one that these little tiny crabs land in as plankton, they quickly form their camouflage to match it exactly. It's really fascinating. You'll see a bright red shrimp or crab living on a bright red feathered sea star, and right next to it, a yellow crab living on a yellow sea star. It's fascinating how the camouflage in the ocean world works. For example, here's a shrimp. Now this crinoid shrimp, he didn't just change his colors, he's also got the stripes that look just like the feathers on the crinoid itself. You can see how if he just held still, he would be blended in perfectly with this feathered sea star, and you would barely even know he was there, especially if you're a dumb predator. It's kind of the perfect hideout and home for these little guys.
Good to me.